Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Denby Parish Council's Amenities Committee on the 21st of January 2026, first one of 2026, so Happy New Year, everybody. Held in the Barn Green Rooms at the DCC. First item on the agenda, apologies, and absolutely wonderful to see all our councillors present again. Item 2, declarations of interest arising from this agenda. Members and officers are invited to declare any relevant interests. Notwithstanding this item, members may subsequently declare an interest at any point during the meeting. Does anybody have any interests they'd like to declare?
Follow me to Tanner's new play area because I live in Carpentersfield.
I don't think that's a relevant interest. I don't know how the rest of the council feel. You don't have any pecuniary interest. I'm more than happy to. Thank you for offering that. I think we're more than happy that you take part. Is everybody agreed on that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Okay. Anybody else's declaration of interest? Item 3, minutes of the previous meetings. So, Councillor Betts, this will be everybody except yourself, as you weren't present at that one. So, minutes of the previous meeting. To receive and confirm the accuracy of the minutes of the meeting held on the 10th of December 2025, to consider and determine action. So, one thing that I will observe is that Councillor Lewingdon was actually present at that meeting and isn't on the attendees. So do I just need to signature that?
Yeah, I've amended it.
But you were there. I can vouch for that. You've all read the minutes. They've been pre-circulated. Everybody happy with those? Can I have a show of hands? All those in favour? Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Item 4 on the agenda, public participation. So this meeting will recess for no more than 15 minutes to allow members of the public to address the meeting in respect of items on this agenda. So what I'd like to do is ask you, if you're happy to give your name for the recording, so if we need to get back to you and to identify which item of the agenda you wish to address us about. If you've matters that aren't relating to this agenda, then we warmly welcome you to either make a meeting with myself and Francis or contact the office and discuss it. We want to avoid the public having to wait potentially up to 6 weeks to discuss matters that can be dealt with differently, and also our meetings can get extremely long, particularly on amenities. So please only matters pertaining to this agenda. Do any members of the public wish to speak to us tonight?
Yes, please.
Okay, and any others? Yes, and yourselves. Okay, so yes. Which item would you like? Yes, I know that. And so. Oh, sorry.
I'm Louise Bagman.
Yeah.
And I'm item 6.1.
You're 6.1 as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Keith Davis, item 8, specifically item 8.3.
And sorry.
Here's one of the emails.
Yes. And yes, Paula.
Councillor Ranford Smith, and I would like to address the council with regards to item 8.2, please.
And Mr. Brown.
Ian Brown. My item isn't on the agenda because it's never been brought up that way. It had to be on the agenda. It's regarding a previous resolution that you made in October.
Okay, I will have to ask you to write into the office with that, as the committee will only discuss matters on the agenda. Thank you very much.
As a member of the public chair, I'm entitled bring up my point?
The agenda is the agenda. So I warmly invite you to write in, please. Okay, thank you very much.
Can I ask for my
I
item to be on
appreciate
the
that.
next agenda then, please?
You can write into the office and request that for consideration, of course. So if committee is happy, we'll deal with 6.1 first, and then if committee is happy to bring item 8.3 for Mr. for Keith. Yeah, we often bring things forward, unless you're happy to wait until we work down to that. Sorry. You'll have to wait. Okay, so we'll come to that. Okay, and Councillor Langford-Smith, are you happy to wait for the item to come up on its normal schedule? Okay, all right, no problem. All right, so we'll just cover item 5.1
No, I need to do with
first.
public participation.
Oh,
They haven't
sorry.
spoken. They haven't actually
You haven't
spoken
actually
yet.
spoken yet. In my keenness to move on. Abby,
Yeah.
yes, please.
So both come, but I'll take it first and then hand over to Louise. So it won't be surprised to come to talk to the letter that I wrote into you about 6.1, which is the area of open space on Forest Mead next to my house. It's something I came this time last year to speak about as well. So the area, I've got a few photos here which I'll just run down over attached to my letter.
They have been circulated.
That's fine. So basically, the area, when we first moved in, yes, it was quite overgrown, but it was quite a lush green vegetation. At the end of 2023, the grounds team came and they really extremely cut it back, basically down to scrub, and you can see that from the photos that I've attached. It was, at the time, slightly over the pedestrian path, so I did understand that it needed to be pruned. Obviously, my experience on the village committee means I know that, you know, we have to deal with the vegetation around the village, but it was completely taken back. It had then only just started to grow, and a year later it's completely taken back to scrub again, which is when I came in last year to ask please that kind of, because it's not the only place around the village that happens, that we sort of try to let things grow back in a little bit. We've had to do quite a lot of tree works for very sort of justifiable reasons, but in my mind it would make sense to then leave some of the bushes for birds and other wildlife to grow in, because, you know, you have to make the parish council is committed to this being a green village. Anyway, it's completely taken back again at the end of November, beginning of December, and I can't see any logical reason why it was not anywhere near the pedestrian path. It's not an area that could be used for any other purpose, because of all the brambles, you can't walk on it, it can't be used for dog walking, it can't be used for play or anything. The only thing it can do is add to how the area looks by being nice and green, and also provide some habitat for the local wildlife. Since it's been being cut back in this manner, it's been the third time now that it's been done, there's a lot less birds, there's a lot less of anything living in there. Noticeably, you can see here a lot less birds. It looks awful. And so I would like to ask, basically when it first happened, I took on a licence to cultivate to try and stop it from happening again. But actually the parish council grounds team still came and cut it back, which at that point, for other reasons as well, I needed to give up the licence to cultivate, but there wasn't really any point in having it because it had been cut back anyway. Last year I asked you to please not cut it back like that, and it was again. So now my request, which I'm putting for your consideration, is to just, for that area, please, you know, don't touch it unless it encroaches on the pedestrian path, which given how it's been cut back, I think it'll probably be about a decade before that happens.
Yeah.
So that's my request.
And to add, before Abby, you took on the licence to cultivate, and before that, I actually written and complained about how hard it's been cut back. So just to explain, all the grass, the land, we're talking about the longish stretch here, our fence boundary from my properties here. We are trying to support the small birds, we're trying to support everything because we're overtaken by pigeons, especially in this part of Denmead. But equally, I put in a concern about how harsh it's been done. I come to a meeting, I felt it was quite a difficult meeting, because all I'm asking is for it to be pruned respectfully, so that wildlife and that it looks aesthetically for the village. And yet, Abby's had these troubles ongoing, and I was mortified when I came home from work, and it's just cut back. So every form that had to be done up to like a certain 2 or 3 feet. In an email which I could trace back, which was 3 years ago now, I was told, but actually it's like, why can't we prune it? Because the shrubs opposite the house on Forest Mead, which are also cared for by the parish council, were kept in a lovely shape. They were just respected as their natural form. And it would just be really appreciated if people would respect that this is a community land that could be just aesthetically treated for the wildlife. And also it just looks ugly, it's awful. And I have noticed it happens further down in certain other areas of the village, and not in other areas. So we're just really asking very nicely to communicate, because it's just its waste house. I mean, I'd like to take it on, but I'm a bit scared to take it on. I don't know how to take it on if actually it still gets.
Okay.
So that's.
All right. Thank you very much. So.
Yes, I've sent an item into yourselves about hedging against Goodmanfield at Town Road. My dog escaped the hedge in Town Road without me knowing. And the dog had been there through before and not got through. Obviously, the hedge been cut back recently and she got through. And it's not just that fence, other fences around Goodmanfield. Dogs have escaped into adjacent fields. Which is a bit distressing when they won't come back. So I'm asking perhaps these fences could be looked at and strengthened or whatever. Please. It's not, nothing worse than seeing a dog disappear often if they won't come back. Well, the also, which was actually she walked outside the fence and just by coincidence found a dog walk saw her and picked her up with a bullet straight into the car park. Yes. But in other instances, dogs have escaped into the adjacent field. And they've not come back. And I've never tracked them, I've actually found them. They've actually found back towards Hamilton Road, yes. Yes, the dogs do escape. I mean, that's their very nature. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Langford-Smith.
Thank you. I do apologise to members that I wasn't able to brief you on Wednesday last week, but I was actually at Winchester for the council meeting speaking to them about item 8.2 on your agenda. I did speak in council and I spoke about contamination, the continued contamination of Goodman Fields. The parish council issued warnings of contamination in early December, but that was only because members of the public reported illness from their animals. So I've been doing some further investigation and I was alarmed at the details of the scale of releases of untreated sewage in with the stormwater from the combined sewer overflows. These are quite clearly a threat to public health. The Forest Road pumping station, data shows that in 2025 there were 25 separate occasions, adding up to over 328 hours of sewage being released into Goodman Fields. The Hambledon Road pumping station, data for 2025 similarly shows 25 separate occasions, adding up to almost 329 hours of contaminated waste going into Goodman Fields. So that's a combined total of 26 days and 9 hours of contaminated water being pumped through Goodman Fields. In addition, the new year started off wonderfully with a further release on the 8th of January of 17 hours and 39 minutes. There have been 9 more releases since then, and today, further releases. It's ongoing at this very point in time. So I've written to Southern Water to ask them if there is a mechanism that this village can be advised when they are pumping into Goodman Fields, so that the parish council can take appropriate action and warn people. I've also asked them what action is being taken to proactively reduce the incidence of contaminated releases. The pumping station on Forest Road is due for an upgrade, but not until after 2030. So we've got another 4 years of contamination being pumped through our field. So I actually wrote to the Chief Operating Officer at Southern Water, and I'm awaiting a reply. You will be aware that our MP, Suella Braverman, is holding a conference with Southern Water on the 30th of January this month. And I know it's later on the agenda for you guys to discuss. I wonder if you might be minded to resolve to seek legal advice on what can be done. I just thought I would give you the information. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'll just quickly comment back. It's a horrible concern, without a doubt. My own investigations reveal that currently there is no early warning mechanism.
No, there isn't, absolutely.
That the early warning mechanisms that do exist are for swimming areas, beaches and so on. And I can't see Southern Water anytime soon doing anything about that. So in terms of the ability for the parish council to pre-warn public of risks to themselves or their animals, our hands are pretty tied in that respect.
The only thing you can do is monitor the data.
It is a post-event.
Well, it's actually happening now.
Well, it's live, but it's
as
yes,
happens, it's live data.
It's live data. We cannot pre-warn.
No.
There's no.
You can't pre-warn because obviously they have not released it.
Well, it
So
depends
it
how.
has to be a live update, which is, as I say, I've looked today and they've
Yes,
said that there are
I mean, they're
happening at this point in
they're
time.
so frequent.
But
It's
it would
untrue.
be possibly a member of staff having to look every day to see if there were contaminated releases, which is very onerous.
I mean, it is appalling, and at least our those streams, those waterways run into the Wallington and out to the sea. It's absolutely awful. Thank you
So I
very much.
have asked for some
Yeah.
water.
Please, and I'm sure you will keep us updated, and we will discuss and take into account your views. Councillor Betts, you
Of course.
So is it the information freely available on the website live at
It is.
any time?
It is, yeah. You just have to look for
yeah,
it.
it's a bit of
You
a
can
hard.
write, you can write
Into a Google
encourage
search.
people to take the information
So-
and keep a sort of
It's actually it's Rivers and Seas Watch. So if you put that in, Rivers and Seas Watch, you then have to go through another presentation once the first time, and you can click, please don't show me this again, and then you zoom in and it shows you all the pumping station locations, and there's two that are red currently, and they're the ones that are discharging. So there's one at the bottom of Innes Lane that hasn't discharged. There's another one up in Ant Hill, and that one hasn't discharged, but the two on Forest Road and Hampden Road that go into Goodman Fields. And as I say, it's live data, so you can look and it tells you as soon as it's happening. It says it's unverified because sometimes the sensors are triggered by spiders or whatever, or an animal, but it is live data, and it says whether it's verified or unverified and how many hours it's been going for. So, I've actually got all the data there, so I'm quite happy to provide that information to the clerk.
I think that would be useful for us to have, and also potentially, depending on your permission, to actually share some of that information as a frequent basis on our website, just to constantly remind people to. Councillor Vickers, yeah.
I would just like to comment. So thank you very much for the information. But I contacted our chairman because I had cellulitis because of contaminated water in Goodmansfield, and actually went to the doctors, and she advised that it went to public health because it went over because of the bridge situation at Goodmansfield. I had to sort of go in and rescue my dog that was trying to get across to the other field because of a lack of bridge, and it went over my Williams boots, and I got cellulitis in one of my feet. And that's when we notified the chair and we put the sign up because actually she advised it was a public health risk.
You could also write to Suella, and because as I say, she's got a conference in the month. So.
But I have to say, Councillor Ranger acted immediately in putting the sign up and saying, and that's where the information on Facebook has come, because actually it was, and other than the fact of the chatter at Goodmansfield about dogs being ill, I was physically ill and put on antibiotics
Well, it's
because
a
of
public
that.
health matter, council has duty of care.
So yeah.
Forgive me.
Just make a comment on the two comments about the shrubbery being cut back. Council, probably a year ago, it might even have been reaction to Mr. Cheney coming in, put in place that hedges in areas that didn't need to be cut low weren't to be cut low. It was only for areas pulling out junctions and things like that where it was safety wise. But that was actually on the agenda and it was minutes.
About a year ago.
And the resolution was 4 to 6 foot. Then it was cut
Yeah,
to
we
6
have
foot.
that. We have that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you.
And
All right.
you know the 8.2 comments with the pollution?
Yes.
Would that apply to the waterways that run over the wooden bridge between?
I don't believe so because it goes. It goes the other. I believe it goes the
flow
other
is that
way.
So,
So
rivers in the village go two directions. So at Hatchmore, it goes from Hatchmore that way, and then from Hatchmore this way.
yeah.
Oh, thank you.
All
Just
right.
because my dog was ill, but I think the water was different, so thank you.
Okay. Great. Public session. Everybody finished? Okay. Thank you very much. So with council permission, then we will bring forward 6.1. So item 6. Everybody happy with that? Okay, thank you. So 6.1, which is the open land at Forest Need, on your agenda, and we've just heard our members of the public express clearly and passionately how they feel about it. So to consider the correspondence received, which you've seen, and the photographs that have been provided, in respect of the open land at Forest Need, to consider and determine action. So comments, please.
I was going to ask, I think it might have been answered, is are there guidelines for these pieces of land? Where the guidelines are?
Let me offer you the guidelines that it currently exist, and indeed what Ian Brown refers to, and that is the landscape policy states that a clear maintenance area will be left between boundaries, fences, walls of at least 1 metre, increasing to 2 metres or more if species are large and more likely to cause problems. Later it says, in general, hedges will be cut to 4 feet high and 6 feet wide, in general, so that they could be managed by flail. This allows regeneration, so regrowth, to approximately 6 feet between cuttings unless specifically managed. The landscape policy also does refer to the removal of some species considered invasive, like goat willow and so on. That is what the policy says, which is.
I'm satisfied with the policy was adhered to.
I want to hear everybody's comments before I sort of say anything.
I would say, looking at the photographs, it does look like it has been robustly managed. Which, I'd say, from a photograph, it doesn't look the prettiest of merges.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to just keep
Oh,
it. I've
excuse
been through that.
Sorry, I was looking at
So-
that.
No,
Sorry,
so
it's my fault, like, we have the
Councillor
conversation.
Vickers, through the chair, please.
Okay, so it does to me look, it looks like it's been robustly managed. I do, see the, read the, the policy. I think that we need to sort of take a pragmatic view. We've got to manage the policy, but we've also got to manage the aesthetics of how it looks, and to be, a community that looks after our neighbours, and, a community that. So I think there's a point to your bringing it, and I thank you for bringing it. I'm sorry that you've had to come again to bring it. So I think we need to make some redress and know where we go in the future, so people don't come home to their homes and see a butchered piece of their, you know, near their property. I think it's only right that we're open and honest and discuss it, and if it is going to happen, that people that we're made accountable for why we do it.
Thank you. Councillor Ranger and Councillor Bowen.
Yeah, I almost concur with Councillor Vickers. I think looking at the pictures and the reading of the landscape policy, it does look like it's not being adhered to in my work in my view. And as a result, maybe the grounds team or groundsmen, head groundsman, needs to take a view of the site and understand what it looks like compared to the landscape policy, and maybe whether the policy is right or wrong in terms of its dimensions that you read out, Chair, I don't know, but whether or not that needs to be reinforced or whether it needs to be amended, I don't know. But certainly it does look like it's been, hacked.
Robustly.
Robustly hacked.
Councillor Bowen.
Just wondered if that is Hawthorne route will go out 25 foot if it gets too big and will start damaging foundations and walls. So we've got a path there and residence wall. I think part of that policy states that it's to be managed to be kept at the correct size, otherwise it could start damaging other people's property.
I have to say, although it's referred to as hawthorn, it doesn't look like a hawthorn to me at all. It looks like it looks like a silver birch, but it doesn't look like a hawthorn, the one in this photo. Okay. I'll give you my comments. And I think actually the problem is so much, in my opinion, that I think the problem is so much broader than this one small place. I think what's taken place on Forest Road from the roundabout up to, I forget which, a long way up, I think it's been changed from what was a very attractive almost avenue along that perimeter of Denmead, and I appreciate that we had no choice but to do some pretty horrendous tree works. I don't think some of the tree works that were done needed to be quite so horrendous, but it's the whole stretch on the right hand side is some wasteland. It's gone from something so attractive to something incredibly ugly. The ecological impacts of that to the wildlife are huge. I've heard mention, we'll be planting this and planting that in the years since that tree work was done. I've seen nothing planted. All I've seen is more and more, the scorched earth policy. I feel we absolutely need to address this because I feel we're doing a huge amount of harm. If the policy states that we should leave a 1 metre gap from the fence line or wall of a neighbouring property, and that we should take the ivy off that and clear bramble to allow access to service those areas, that's okay, that's 1 metre, but these areas are totally stripped out. That's my 2 pence.
I think it's like you say, a broader topic of discussion that maybe needs to come back at a further meeting. But I think we have to look at this one case that's been brought to us today and make a decision for the people that have bothered to come and address it again. So I think that I take your point, Councillor Carson. I think it's something that we maybe need to revisit in the future for the look and the wildlife of the village. But I think we have to look at this one particular case and make action in relation to that. So so these people don't have to come to another meeting when this happens again.
I wonder whether, because so this has happened year on year, not a 3 yearly, not a 3 year yearly programme. I wonder whether for this particular isolated area, whether we can consider that no further work happens there until these members of public are actually consulted, engaged with, asked, listened to, and that it shouldn't, and that shouldn't happen. Councillor Vickers.
Do we need to consider Councillor Bowman's about the Hawthorn? Do we need to absolutely make sure that what I would say stump isn't Hawthorn? You know, because I think
we should confirm what that
I think we should.
One letter reply.
Sorry.
It's in the agenda notes.
Yes, it says in the agenda that it's a hawthorn. The photo does not look like a hawthorn.
I think we need to confirm that.
It doesn't look like a hawthorn. It's got weepy branches, which looks like a birch.
On the response of ACH's complaint reference land adjacent to 20.5 Forest Mead, it says in there.
Yes, and where it says it in there, but the photograph does not look like a hawthorn, is all I'm saying. The photograph...
Surely the simple point for this then is...
We just need to confirm...
We need to go to head gardener and review the policy.
That's what
Reviewing the policy, if I take on board what Councillor Vickers said, doesn't give us a very specific, wrapped conclusion for members of the public tonight. If we need to consult with the head groundsman and consider the policy and then commit to getting back to the members of the public, that's something we could do. Councillor Ranger.
Make a suggestion.
Yeah.
It's not a proposal, it's a suggestion for further discussion with that, but until further notice, no ground maintenance takes place until an urgent review with the ground staff accordingly, not just for this one particular area, but in general, an urgent review with the ground staff and to validate whether the ground staff and the current landscaping policy are fit for purpose. It's a suggestion, not a proposal.
I think that's a good suggestion. The visual amenity indicates that our policy, if that's what we're following, is overzealous. Councillor Lundin.
Just building on your suggestion there, depending on how long that pause is, we could end up with a large backlog of work, and all various areas could get out of control. But I don't know how that actually keeps the people who are doing this maintenance gainfully employed if we're stopping all of it. So support the idea of that, but if it's going to be, we need to get a resolution on that fairly quickly.
So, if the proposal was that no further groundworks take place along, and we all know the stretch we mean, from Harvest Home roundabout all the way up to beyond, I want to say Paddock End, but I think Pontees, it's a long way up. There's nothing needs doing there for any time soon. So if the resolution was that just that section, that would allow them to continue elsewhere, but I think with caution elsewhere. We don't want to be doing this elsewhere. Councillor Clay. Sorry, and then I'll come to you. Councillor Clay.
My input would be perhaps the pruning, cutback, maintenance of trees and shrubs be halted at this time. Other maintenance can continue until we've had a chance to review the policy. I would just reduce it to trees and shrubs at this time. We are in a time of the year where growth is very limited, so time is on our hands before the spring reaches us. So using that opportunity, we can review.
Sorry, so I mean, shrubs is what's been cut back to.
Rather than all mains, I just wanted to clarify that it's just trees and shrubs and hedges at this time, not all. And it's not. It might not just be isolated to this because this is one example. I don't think we should just isolate it just to forest side. I think that's any trees and shrubs.
So sorry, were you suggest? I was trying to write it down. That the pruning of trees and shrubs cease at this point until
Hedges, yeah. Normal maintenance may continue, but I think shrubs.
normal maintenance is the policy.
Okay.
That's the issue. Normal maintenance is written down.
I just wanted to remind you that you're talking about Forest Road. The ladies there are talking about Forest Mead.
But it's all. Yes, correct. Thank you.
No, so if you're going to make a resolution, it needs to include Forest Mead, not just Forest Road.
I think we all kind of know what we want to achieve, and we're struggling to actually package that in a proposal that doesn't trip us up in 3 weeks' time. Councillor Lundin.
I'm not a gardener, I've just been searching on the web, but as I suspected, there are various times of the year when it's good to prune trees and various times when it's bad. We appear to be at a time when it's quite good to prune trees. So if we pause for a few months, we effectively probably pause for the year.
It's illegal. It's illegal from April till September.
Yeah.
I don't think there's an easy solution to this, and I think I would feel uncomfortable about making a snap decision without further investigation and researching to change such a policy. What I do feel is that we do have some autonomy to sort this situation out now, and so I think what we have to vote on is a simple solution of we leave that area for a time limited period, but I would really want to know that there isn't hawthorn on there that is going to cause damage to properties. So I would want that to be researched, because I'm not very good with trees. I couldn't tell you if that was whatever tree it is.
We have a separate tree maintenance programme, so all trees are maintained unless they're specifically under a TPO, and we have to prune them every 2 years, say, which we do. Then they are on a 3-year rolling maintenance programme, so that now this tree has been taken out of the brambles it was surrounded by, it will be maintained every 3 years. So it shouldn't reach the point where it will damage the property.
Okay, so then I think that makes it easier. Then I think we just say, we leave this area for the time that we need it to grow back to a state that it is able to be, it looks aesthetically pleasing and it supports the wildlife.
That's subjective, though, isn't it? How long's
Well,
the grounds team say in 18 months' time, well, that's grown a bit and let's cut it back.
We could just say for the next year. I just think we can sort this problem out, and we should do, and we shouldn't just think about just deferring it or not coming to a conclusion.
No, not at all. But
going to have any other treatment in the near future, by the look at it.
Pardon?
It's unlikely to have any further treatment in the near future.
So that's the.
Or instead of getting
Councillor
it would be not until discussed with the adjacent property owners.
sorry, can you
We
repeat
can
that?
have a discussion before any work, so instead of...
Well, that's what I was suggesting, but nothing happens until they're
so
consulted.
Instead of just saying no work at all, it would be not...
For this particular...
Whatever, I think it just needs to be resolved.
Okay. So that is one possible solution, that work is not undertaken on this particular area until the neighbours have been consulted. That doesn't mean that no work's going to happen and that work that does need to be done is going to be ignored, but at least there will be consultation. That's one...
If she wants
So-
it up.
I'm not going to. It's 10:10
I'll email it.
I need a proposal. Um, It can-
I accept that no further work should be done in that area in the near future. If we make a proposal that says we don't do anything there until we consult, we're making a lot for our own backs to forget about it in 5 years' time. And it's setting a precedent for a very complicated patchwork of arrangements. across the
It
village.
is, yeah, great.
I think it's unlikely that any work will be done there in the near future. We've got the opportunity and the time to work out what changes to the policy we want to make.
So is your suggestion that we don't specifically make pass a resolution for the local issue, let's call it this specific issue, and we actually take the time to look at the overall policy? Is that your
Damage has
suggestion?
been done in this
Yeah.
particular site, and it's unlikely to have any further aggravation in the short term. Let's take our time and get the policy right.
Francis?
I just wanted to clarify that usually hedges are only cut once a year, which is why they are. It does look stark because we only do them once a year in the cutting season.
I just think it's completely overzealous. It's not
No,
4 feet.
I'm saying that
yeah.
purely because it means it won't
Councillor
be cut
Ranger, and then
again.
we really need to try
May I
and
make a
move on.
suggestion that in terms of a proposal then, and that I think I would propose that with urgency, that the landscape policy needs to be reviewed by council and ground staff with urgency to see whether it's fit for purpose. Part one and part two is the site survey specifically to address the local site to see whether or not it's got the right or the wrong types of shrubs and trees in. That should be done urgently as well. And then both of those two data points come back to council.
I'll second that.
Yeah, okay. Just a second. So we can review the landscape policy with urgency and bring back to committee.
And site survey.
And then we've got the site survey on Forest Mead.
Yeah.
But we need to allocate a person who's going to actually review that. I'd be happy to review that. Martin, as Councillor Clay as Vice Chairman, you and I with the head groundsman to discuss and bring back to committee initial thoughts and so on. So the proposal that we have, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that with urgency the landscape policy should be reviewed, and again with urgency there should be a site survey on a particular Forest Mead issue. The policy should be reviewed with Councillor Clay and Councillor Carson with the head groundsman initially, and we will bring the initial thoughts back to committee.
And share the site survey with the residents. And share the site survey result with the
You
residents.
added that one in?
Yeah.
That wasn't on
Okay.
the proposal that was seconded.
Okay, well, I ignore that.
Well, it will be shared anyway.
We
Shared
can
anyway.
develop that.
Sure.
So, everybody happy with that proposal? So, while I preceded it there, it was already seconded. So, can we have a show of hands, all those in favour? And that's unanimous. Thank you very much. Item 7.
No, 5.
Well, no. 5.1, yes. This will be a quick one. Item 5.1, Ashley Park, Ashington Building, solar panels. To receive an update from the Amenities Clerk and to consider deferring this matter until further information is available on central. Thank you very much.
Thank you, good night.
Until further information is available on central government's net zero policy to consider and determine action. So we have got quotes for solar panels as part of earlier decisions, but we do have other considerations now, and particularly regarding the oil heating to the pavilion, and that has to be, we have to wait for the government's net zero policy finalisation,
Yes.
don't we? Yeah.
Yeah, if I can just update you, I did get quotes from various companies to have solar panels, and they all showed that we could make a marvellous profit or be in profit within 2 years. But of course, that is taking into account that the only electricity we use there is for lighting, because everything else is run through oil-fired. And so it would be far more sensible to wait until government decides its net zero policy and we are told we have to remove the oil-fired boilers, because once we've removed the oil, we will then be using electricity and we'll be able to get a more sensible quote for solar panels and really see how long it would take to recover the money when we are having to use electricity to heat the building. That then falls into the whole consideration of works being done at the pavilion. Well, there are various works that need to be done at the pavilion,
I mean,
and so it needs to all fall into a big
Yeah.
melting pot, which should be dealt with by full council, given the figures involved.
So the agenda item is to defer this.
Yeah.
Can I have a show of hands, those in favour of
Would it be
deferring?
possible to share those quotes for solar so we can understand the
Yeah.
level of power requirements currently?
Yeah, I can do.
Because
Yeah.
the buyback,
It's a long way. It's a long way off us doing them as it stands at this point in time. But absolutely have them.
my question then is why is that?
Sorry.
Why is that, other than the boilers? Because you could get ahead of the problem and do it now, knowing that we're going to have to get rid of the oil boiler anyway. So you'll be able to find some company who will be able to do a full retrofit of the pavilion with solar, with battery storage, with electrical heating systems, and get ahead of it and get it into the grant system now, which stopped in March this year.
It's a good point, but there are various considerations, some of which I can't, not prepared to discuss tonight.
Budget.
And we don't have any budget. Thank you for reminding me that. So quite simply, we don't have any budget. It's a great idea. Absolutely, you can see the quotes. Absolutely, and you'll see how amusing some of the calculations are on payback. Absolutely, you can. Councillor Ranger.
Do we have any dates from the government zero policy? Because I keep seeing different
It is-
dates being published, but
Yeah.
do we have anything from? Yeah.
Yeah. It's.
Well, it was 30. I think then it went to 35, and I think now it's been pushed back again.
So we could be sitting around for a long time.
Well,
waiting for
we
this.
could or we couldn't. You know. So the agenda item is do we agree to defer this? So I propose that we defer this matter, which will need to be seconded.
I would like us to quantify how long we're...
Sorry?
I would like us to quantify how long we're deferring for.
We cannot possibly say that. We don't have a crystal ball, do we?
How long until we rediscuss?
So that's to clarify then, for this proposal, are we saying we're going to defer it indefinitely, or are we deferring until there is a net zero policy from the government? We will defer. I'm suggesting, or we're suggesting, that it is deferred until such time as government is clearer on the net zero policy and the future of the impact on our oil system. We have to have a clearer picture. We cannot possibly make a decision, and I'll remind again, we don't have a budget. Councillor Ranger, sorry, it was Councillor Betts.
I was going to say, would that potentially, if we agreed that now, would that rule out of including any solar panels in pavilion works? So maybe we defer it until we discuss what's going on with...
It doesn't stop us discussing it in the future at all. I've got a solar system. I'm passionate about solar. I've got batteries. I've got everything. But we cannot really make an agreement on this now because A, we don't have a budget, and we don't know the future of the government's net zero policy. But no, absolutely, if it's the right time to bring it back, absolutely bring it back, 100%. Councillor Ranger.
I'm not comfortable with deferring it indefinitely. I would, taking up Councillor Boland's point, I would like to see some quotations from various organisations, whether we've already approached them or not, I don't know, but to do a full retrofit on everything, just to see what the prices are.
We have the.
I haven't seen them, so I don't know. But not just the panels, but the boiler and everything that goes with it, just to see what we're talking about in terms of dollar value, pound value, sorry. And as a result, I wouldn't be comfortable deferring it indefinitely. I'd like to see some background information and come back to council accordingly, please.
All right, then can I suggest?
Can I speak?
Oh, sorry, yes, Councillor Vickers.
I was of the view to defer, but actually Councillor Boland's point is really valid and has resonated with me, and I echo what Councillor Ranger has said. Why shouldn't we be ahead of the game? I understand there's a budgetary consideration, but I think we need to give it much more due consideration than just deferring it. So I thank Councillor Boland for giving that piece of information that has changed the dynamic, the trends of my thought process.
Right.
So.
I will chuck in another aspect that has high relevance at the moment, and that is that in the review of where parish council offices may or may not be, in terms of our options, the pavilion is one of them, and so it may require, if that were what council backed, it would require significant building work, in which case the whole boiler thing and solar panels would be on the discussion there. So, that's what we're trying to best guess what the immediate future will be. I don't think anybody's suggesting that this never comes back on the table because it's indefinite, but I don't think, in terms of putting time and resource into it right now, getting quotes for boilers, and we have, Francis has got some quotes, the 3 quotes for the solar system, which she'll be very happy to share, I'm sure. So where do we go with this?
Well, I'd make a proposal then that we, first of all, we share the information that some of us have got, some of us haven't, in terms of the existing quotes, and we revisit those quotes to see whether it's fit for the long-term benefit for the pavilion and park, Ashton Pavilion. Irrespective of when the government net zero policy is. So I think we should go on. We don't have to spend anything yet. We can understand what the size of the problem is, and then bring it back and discuss accordingly, whenever that is. That would be the proposal.
Okay, that's Councillor Craig.
I'll second that.
Okay, so a show of hands. All those in favour? Yes, sorry. Okay. Thought that was going to be a quick one. Item 7, trees and hedges. 7.1, skeleton oak tree, which you're all familiar with now. So this is the tree that has a TPO on it. Unfortunately, it's a very, very deceased oak tree. Winchester have written to us on this matter, as you know, and you'll have seen the communication. But in short, they state that we are required to remove it or make it safe, and that we are also required to replace with an oak tree of a 12 to 14 inch girth size. Centimetre, I was going to say 14 inches. So I said it cost you a fortune.
Centimetres.
It says 12 to 14 centimetres.
I did check that.
It's 12 to 14. It doesn't have any.
Yes, I did check with the
Thank
meters.
you. It does state within 9 months from the date of felling. I know the Amenities Clerk's in discussion with Winchester about that deadline.
Yes, I did contact Winchester and they have now confirmed. I expressed concern that a tree of 12 to 14 centimetres is going to cost us between £300 and £400, and looking at their 9 months, that would require us to plant it in August. And I told them I refused to do that because it would die before we got to October. If we have weather like we had last year, the best time to plant a tree is October, November, and I said we will get it in the ground before Christmas next year, and they have agreed that.
Okay.
But we would aim to plant it in November.
So we note that correspondence. Thank you. Which then brings us to 7.2, which is the quotation received from Tree Works. So Winchester, you'll be getting familiar with this expression, habitat stack or monolith. So Winchester correctly point out that in a situation like this where we're doing this kind of work on a dead or dying tree, although this one is actually dead, it's incredibly beneficial to the ecology, to wildlife, invertebrates, all sorts of things, that the tree effectively is left as a stack to decay naturally. Not necessarily the most attractive thing, but we've got to learn to love things differently. And they have requested that that's what we do, that we create a monolith. And that will be that the trunk, so the trunk won't just be cut off like that. It will have small sections of its major branches, 1 to 2 feet sections, just coming out. So it will keep some form, but that's what a monolith is, and it goes on to provide habitat for all sorts, woodpeckers, owls, everything for a very, very long time. So the quote for that work is 1,400 and monolith, 1,440. What you're saying there?
No.
Okay.
Inclusive of that.
So to consider the quote, the council's preferred tree surgeon. Considering determined action. Councillor Vickers.
I think this is a lot of money. I think that we need to look at other quotes and get some more other quotes. So I think this is a lot of money. And I also think that we need to talk about how we propose this to the village, because I think there's been a lot of chatter about trees and the way that we manage trees and, you know, commentary on social media. And I think this one will be I think it will be as worse, because it's quite a loved tree. It's known as a skeleton tree. It's quite iconic in the village. So I do think that I'm quite appalled by the price, if I'm honest. And I know Tree Works are preferred, purveyor of cutting down trees and managing trees, but I do, we are looking at how we manage our budget much more effectively. So I would like to see other quotes.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Betts?
I agree with Councillor because I think that I was going to ask how we've chosen the quotes. Have we got multiple quotes, and is it an opportunity for a competitive tender if we have repeated works that needs to be done?
Yeah, exactly.
We are, as a council, we are duty bound to ensure we get the best value works, which doesn't always mean the cheapest, but we are duty bound to do that. Any further comments?
We do get a discount from Tree Works. That is the discounted costs.
This is discounted.
I have to say, I thought it was expensive. Anyway, Councillor Ranger.
Having had Tree Works, not Tree Works company, but Tree Work, carried out on our properties in the last couple of years. It's not an over and above amount, number one. It's anywhere between 1,000 and 1,500 a day, depending on the trees and types of trees and types of work. So that's the first thing. But I do agree that in this particular case, I think we should probably get a second quote at least. And I also agree with Councillor Vickers in terms of the social media aspect, because I think that there's been quite a euphoria of activity that needs to be tempered and hardened accordingly. So yeah, so I think a second quote, or depending on which companies we currently go to for quotes, as well as some social media awareness.
But before it happens.
Oh yeah, before it happens.
Yeah. Rather than it happening and then you
Agreed.
take the flag afterwards. Yeah, it's just not worth it. And it's right and prudent that we do it. Transparency and all that.
I felt it was expensive compared to some of the other quotes that we've had for other trees, and given that there is no foliage, there's no shredding involved, I did think it was expensive. Anyway, so have we got a proposal then? I think we've pretty much got one that we will seek two further quotes.
I think so. I think we go for 3 quotes.
Okay, so the proposal is that we seek 2 additional quotes for this skeleton tree. Is there a seconder? Show of hands, all those in favour? That's unanimous.
Very good for my own knowledge. Are we VAT registered so we can claim VAT
Yes.
back? So the price is 1,200
Yes, it's 1,200 ex that, yeah. Okay, so item 7.3, more trees. Tree works at the Meadow. To consider the quote received from Council's preferred tree surgeon to carry out the works at the Meadow. Our task is to consider the quote. I wasn't particularly happy just to see remove all trees within the roadside hedge line of 22 the Meadow. I'm just at a loss to what we're doing to our trees and our visual amenity. I'm assured that the trees need to go for the reason of damaging the drive.
They're damaging the driveway and the footpath.
The agenda item is to discuss the quote. I wish it had been a little broader. I think I'll bring an additional item back to another agenda and I think it's linked to our earlier discussion. We are just stripping this village of trees and visual amenity. Nevertheless, we are. Councillor Vickers, sorry.
I wouldn't be happy to vote on something that I haven't seen photographs for, and remove all trees sounds very brutal, and I think we're back to the same old discussion. So I would not be voting for that in terms of, I think we need to have much more information. I think though, as a matter of course, we need to inform the residents of number 22, the Meadow, as to why we are deferring, and not just let them read it on the council website. I think we need to be honest with them and say that we need further information. Was that a proposal?
Yeah. Just for
that's
further
a proposal.
information.
That's my proposal.
The more. Right, how do you propose we get more information? That we go and have a look at it?
I think we need to have a look at it, get some photographs, see if it's as bad as it, seems. Send one of us round there, report back to council.
I'm happy to go around there. Anybody who would like to
Multiple
come
choice,
with me?
ABC, do all of,
Who would like to come with me? Are
happy to help.
you coming round with me?
Yeah, we won't agree.
You never know.
We won't agree, so maybe you need to cancel bets or something. Maybe
No.
two sides of the coin.
Right, so the proposal would be then, at this stage, that Councillor Vickers and Councillor Carson make a site visit to eyeball.
22 the meadow.
22 the meadow, to observe and report back to
Okay.
committee. We inform the resident that committee is deferring until they feel fully
It's considering
Happy.
all further options.
considering all options. Okay, that'll work. You've got that? Yeah. Is there a seconder, please, for that? And a show of hands, all those in favour? That's unanimous. Got to stop killing these trees. And I think that if we're taking trees out, we should be planting
Yeah.
one out, one in. Our agenda each 6 weeks is just full of the cost of these tree works and what we're doing to the planet.
Yeah, great.
We have to show some leadership, I think. So, which does that? Item 7.4, tree works. Not quite so bad. So, whilst it's under tree works, this is the hedge. Councillors, can we attend to the agenda, please? Because we're really.
No trees.
Sorry.
Yeah, thanks. Sam, you can come with us as well, Councillor Bloom, if you want. The hedge cutting at the bowling club, to consider the quote received from the council's preferred tree surgeon to carry out works of the hedge at KGV Field, Ashling Park bowling club, and this was to reduce them to a manageable height that the grounds team can then manage thereafter. To consider and determine action. Councillor Lundin.
With the last decision, we sort of set a precedent that we weren't going to approve tree works without at least eyeballing the trees.
This has been
You've got
eyeballed.
pictures on it. Sorry, I missed that in the...
Who's bowling club liaison? Councillor Clay, can I ask you to perhaps just brief those who haven't seen the who don't know the situation?
Yeah, so our head groundsman Sam is unable to maintain the current hedge line of the bowling club. He hasn't got the tools, the machines to do it, so we need to source an outside tree surgeon, if you will, to come in to bring it to a height where it's manageable by the ground staff so that he can use a frail or something like that. But it's just too high for him and his grounds team to do, so we need to bring it down and then he can maintain it himself and his team.
Thanks for that. I think the point I was making was about the principle of these works, that we should have some pictures and some background material rather than just make a decision on a tree pruning activity.
Councillor Boland.
Is this within the demise of the bowling club? Do they have any maintenance?
Sorry?
responsibility
The demise of the bowling club.
within the lease that they have? Do they have any responsibility to do this themselves?
Yeah, they have been maintaining it their side, but they cannot reach. They're just slightly a little bit higher. But if you come round to the KGV side of the pavilion side of the field, they can't. No, but they have been doing the inside, but they've been allowing our ground staff.
So they've not been topping it then, and they've been
No.
doing their
They've
maintenance.
not been able,
they
they've
have
not
their
been able to
side.
access it.
Which Sam is supposed to be doing, our ground staff, but the bowling club have taken it upon themselves to maintain the inside of the grounds.
I'm just saying it'd be interesting to see where their demise, the actual plan of the lease is, and what is their responsibility to do. 'Cause it might actually release that it's their responsibility to do all hedges.
We've already
It's
agreed,
not-
we already
that's-
agreed
that's-
that this
yeah.
would be done. We passed a resolution that this would be done. And that agreement has been made with the bowling club.
It's using the leases.
I mean,
Yeah, they keep the inside of the bowling club neat and tidy to their standards, but they won't do outside of that. And they shouldn't, but they do.
but I was going to say,
They should
they
be.
won't, or they
It's their
shouldn't, or they should. Which does actually bring me back to what Councillor Boland. If they should, right?
No.
Because I understood they shouldn't. It's our.
No, it's
our
it's
thing,
our side of the
hedge.
hedge, so
Right.
we should deal with it.
Okay, so if we can, so the quote for doing that hedge work, which I understand is a one-time thing because it will be maintained thereafter, is XVAT is 850. How many metres would you say of hedge is going to be cut?
Yeah,
It's high. We would need a tower to get up there.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a cherry picking job.
Ah, okay. So in which case 850 doesn't sound ridiculous. I propose we accept the quote. Is anybody seconding? Second, can I have show of hands, all those in favour? Abstain. So Councillor Boland abstains and Councillor Linden, did you?
No, I
Accepting.
Yeah.
Got to be faster than that. So that was unanimous then. Okay. Item 8. Goodman Fields, Broken Bridge. To consider the report received from the amenities clerk regarding the replacement of Broken Bridge. I hope, sincerely, you have all read the report.
Can I just start by saying that I was only actually asked to get quotes for doing a pipe style bridge,
Indeed.
but that's impossible, which is why I've gone on to look at the other issues.
Yeah. So, the major points of the report is that indeed, as the clerk has just stated, that a pipe style bridge was preferred. The Environment Agency will not allow that. It's not acceptable to them. So we have then been looking at alternatives. The Environment Agency will not allow a simple replacement of what we had previously, because it's fundamentally, you can see the photos, it effectively touches the water, and I understand actually is under the water a lot of the time, which is probably why it rotted in the first place. This is a gap like this at the moment. The stream's running in it about that width, but it's all flooded around. So like for like is not acceptable. So then we have to start looking at, if we're going to put a bridge here, we have to start looking at things like pre-built bridges or bridge kits. And the Environment Agency have made it very clear that the lowest part of the bridge must be 600 millimetres, 60 centimetres higher than on both bank edges. So that would have to be done by concrete blocks. It would have to be, then it would not be a flat, there would be steps, or 2 steps, I would think, on each side, so it wouldn't be classed as accessible. The steps, because of the span of the bridge, has to be much longer, leading to a bridge width of something in the region of 5 metres, a bridge length,
4 metres.
a width of 1.2, with a span of under 5 metres, but just keep 5 metres in mind. On top of that, whatever we do, we have to pay very numerous fees, assessments, have documents created, not limited to a risk assessment, method statement, environmental risk assessment, management systems document, site plans and diagrams. These are all legally required. This is before we address any aspects of how you would physically get either the pre-built bridge components to the site or a large flat pack bridge. Our clerk has done some good work. You can see on the document, you are potentially looking at a minimum of £14,000, which excludes delivery cost, moving the bridge into position, construction of the databases and all the and all the other legally required documents. We have no budget for that. That's that fact. I went. I've never been to Goodman's Fields. and there's a reason for that, and that's because of, as far as I was concerned, it was a dog walking field. But I went on Monday because I like to see things, right? And I've never been there, so I put my wellies on. The weather was vile on Monday, so much I had to put my little printed out map in a plastic bag. I wanted to see what the impact of the lack of this bridge was having. It was quite an eye-opener going to the fields. There's a lot of things that horrify me, like the littering, including in the watercourses, dog poo bags in bushes and so on. However, that's an aside. I was freely, never having been there before, not knowing where I was going, I was free. I could not access with ease any area of Goodman's Fields with ease. I failed to see this gap, which is almost like it's a shortcut that's been made. I don't know. It's not required. You can walk everywhere in these fields uninhibited by following the trails going over the other existing bridges. I had no issue at all. The other thing that I want to remind Council of is the purpose of Goodman's Fields. Goodman's Fields is not a defined dog walking park. It is for recreation. It is for, as the boards there state, the helping us with ecological diversity, those sorts of functions. It is not a dog walking park yet. That is exactly what it's become. Within 5 minutes of being there, so when I attended, there was one professional dog walker with 4 dogs, her van. Within 5 minutes of me walking across the first bridge into the further section over to the left, one of her dogs off the lead ran to my shins, growling, would not be recalled. The lady was about 50 metres away, saying, don't worry, she's safe, she's fine. Your dog is growling at me. I think we have an issue with Goodman's Fields, but back to the bridge, I failed to see that it's needed. We can easily, I have got photographs, that where the bridge is, the tall hedging has all grown up. It's like a sort of little archway that could easily be hedged off completely, and that section is no more. Those were my findings of walking the site in very wet weather and getting very wet. Councillor Lewington.
Well, I concur. I'm surprised I didn't bump into you. I also explored Goodman's Fields. The bridge isn't there at the moment. But there is another bridge about 20 metres to the east of that. It looks like a death trap. I was very cautious. It took my weight, just about. I was feeling brave.
There is one bridge that does need to go, yes.
Yeah,
but that's
is
not
probably a hazard, but
yeah.
I would agree with that. There isn't a need for that bridge to exist.
Yeah. Councillor Betts.
Yeah, I think I want to agree with you, but I just wanted to comment it's absolutely foundation that the Environment Agency has all of these regulations for
and it's pumping sewage. Yeah,
pumping sewage,
yeah,
so
I know. So it's a bit of a joke, isn't it?
yeah, that's why I was
Yeah.
trying to get some water to pay for.
Yeah, I get you. Councillor Vickers.
I strongly disagree. I think we all come from different perspectives. I was the one that brought the bridge about Goodman's Field. I feel very strongly that in this village there are no places for families that have a dog to walk their dog. Everything is sealed off to dog owners and dog families. It's a recreational site. So you went up on a school day and you went up on a rainy day. If you go up there on a sunny day, you will see families playing with their dogs, walking with their dogs. You will see families without dogs. So I debate very strongly that it's just a dog walking site, and I actually take a little bit of exception to that. Secondly, I would suggest that, this bridge has always been there. It is a natural, when people walk with their dog or without their dog, they do a circular route of it, and they can't link from one field to the other. I think this council spends lots of money on things, some of which are debatable, and I think Goodman's Field is something that really doesn't get very much attention, and I think that needs to stop.
Okay.
And I think we need to consider the bridge and take our perspectives and values about dogs away from this discussion and more focus it on the village and the community and what it needs.
I agree that it needs to be about the community, and I've had dogs. Right? I don't dislike dogs.
I think we
It
take
is
dogs out of
absolute.
business.
I don't think so, really, on my own opinion, because it is known as the place to go to exercise your dogs off the lead. And I will add also that the feedback from the grounds team that has come to us on this agenda item is that they're complaining more so about the amount of dog faeces in the field. And I will also say that I had this feeling before that whenever I drove by cars, if they were leaving Goodman's, they were always turning right, and if they were entering Goodman's, they were always coming again from Waterlooville. The lady who was there, who ran her business, she was in Chichester. Her business operates from Chichester. A lovely lady with a very well-controlled dog, who was in the stream, was from Widley. We repair the car park regularly at great expense. We don't have budget for this either, for this one bridge. I disagree that you cannot go from field to field. I physically did it with no knowledge of ever being there before with ease.
Can I suggest that we come back to the topic on hand, which is the broken bridge, and suggest that whether or not we are deciding or determining action on the broken bridge as opposed to whether Goodman's is dog friendly or not dog friendly.
great.
I brought it back to the that we don't.
Absolutely great.
My view is that we don't need it. Councillor Clay.
So my opinion is that the bridge has been there for some time, quite a while. The public would expect that bridge to be there, and in its current state they would probably expect it to be replaced.
Yep.
So if we suddenly disappear and stick a hedge in there and get rid of the now created footpath, I think we could be receiving quite a bit of stick for that. So from my point of view is that I believe that footpath should remain for public use, and that a crossing be safely installed in the format of whatever bridge council decides. But what I'm not happy with is the price. I think 14. This is, I don't know if we can source different quotes or look into further alternatives. But I would like to see a bridge, but perhaps not at that price.
Have you actually seen the space that we're talking about?
Yeah.
There are adequate bridges elsewhere. You can walk freely from field to field without having to use that particular hole in the hedges where the bridge used to be. Why do we want to spend money that we do not have in a very constrained budget year to deliver something that just because it's always been there underwater for a lot of the year?
Yes, well, we need a bridge.
But that anybody with disability or anything won't be able to use because it will be steps. Just chuck that in as well. Okay, Councillor Ranger.
I would like to get some quotes on the bridge. I don't think one quote of 14,000 is sufficient for us to make a decision whether it's the right price or the wrong price or the right type of bridge. There are other bridges in the village that I am sure that costs £14,000 that we maintain and or have installed in the past. So I would suggest we get at least 2 quotes in addition to the one that we've already got, and make a decision. I would be against blocking off the area, because I too use the area, not just with dogs but without dogs as well. I would be, to Councillor Clay's point, the bridge has been there for a while, certainly in the last 15 years that I know of it, and as a result I think it would be the wrong thing. However, if it becomes a price sensitive issue, then I am prepared to be convinced otherwise, but at the moment I don't have enough information to make a decision as a vote based on £14,000 on one price.
Francis.
I would like to say that I am not competent to get quotes for this, because you're looking at a structural engineering solution, so you will need to find a structural engineer who can give you the relevant expert knowledge that you need to construct a bridge here, and to tell you what the costs are, and to tell you what the cost of providing the risk assessments, method statements and so on will be, because that is not something that I suspect any of us around this table can do.
Councillor Clay.
Might be a stupid question, but bridge or no bridge, we can't just cut off a public right of way. Is it? I'm just asking. I didn't know.
It's the whole area is just like in ordnance survey terms, you describe it as open access land. You can wander anywhere you like. Councillor Vickers.
Can I just say that I think there's a misnomer that you can everything can be accessed. People walk a circular route, so they walk from one field to the next field to the next field, and that is a method of doing that. So families do that. They use that end field to play games. You see lots of things in the summer. With greatest respect, Councillor Carson, you've been there once. The second thing is, I wonder whether Councillor Bowman, I'm putting you on the spot because you have a knowledge of building and structural work, whether that's something that you might consider to look into and look at for us. Because look, you've always been very clear about pricing and what is needed, so I would respectfully ask, I know you're busy, if you were able to look into that. Is that something that we could consider, utilise our own resources within this meeting?
I'm still. You've said again that you cannot access field by field. I did it, having never been there before. So without having to know, I would have to go that way or that way, and I walked the entire thing across the bridges that existed.
Discussion's not about whether you can walk around the field.
No, but if we're making decisions about the necessity of that bridge, to be told you can't go from field to field without this bridge is not true.
But members of this council or community council have said that they can't make a decision until more information is available to them.
Which may become the proposal, but we're still discussing it, yeah?
So can I make a proposal then?
Yeah, please do.
I'll go away and I'll get 3 quotes and then decide based on the budget whether there's something available.
Thank you,
Can we,
Councillor.
just before that's seconded, can I just check?
If he wants to get 3 quotes, he can get 3 quotes, but what is he getting quotes for? Because there's been no decision as to what we're actually building.
And I will remind that we don't have budget anyway.
I think Councillor Carson, with the greatest respect, I think you've said that multiple times now, that shouldn't be a prohibitor to providing a bridge for a community field.
Councillor Ranger.
So the bridge is currently broken. It is not available to be used by anybody. Then therefore, either the bridge is replaced and or repaired, replaced or repaired, or removed totally. I would propose that we get additional quotes, and if Councillor Boland is able to do that, to replace the broken bridge and bring that back for consideration.
Okay, Councillor Clay.
I'm willing to second that if that was a proposal.
It wasn't.
Okay.
Okay with that, Sam. Thank you.
Okay. Show hands, all those in favour? Okay.
one other point, before we leave this, there is the other bridge that is in a
That,
precarious
we will have
state.
to bring that back on the next agenda. Can you remember
No,
to
that's-
bring that back?
that's a good
I know
point.
exactly which one. I can't believe that. The one that's hidden up in the woods.
It's at the far
Yeah.
eastern
Yes.
end.
Yeah.
in that
I look. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, I was feeling great. But it is potentially it's a liability.
Yeah, it should just go. It should just go.
I don't
Should there be
think
a sign
so.
going up? Should there be a sign up warning?
We'll bring it up and maybe put it on the next agenda. I can't believe nobody's mentioned it. Okay, right. That was always going to be. Okay, so which brings us now to item 8.2. Not quite sure what we're going to do with this. To consider permanent solutions to the ongoing possible sewage issues at Main River. To consider and determine action. I think as we kind of have already heard and know that the actual resolution of this does not lie with anything Denby Parish Council can directly do because it's Southern Water. So with that in mind, let's talk about it. Councillor Betts.
So one thing that we potentially can do is think about digital solutions so people can quickly check if it's being pumped in or not. And so when you know if it's available online, you could probably pump it through a code API. Someone maybe host it on our website or something.
I mean,
So
it's
I would
not.
think to explore that.
Well, it's not a solution to the problem. It's what
No,
we do with it.
It's not a solution to the
But
problem. It could prevent some liability issues if the council says
one of the things, one of the things that I wanted to suggest is that the early warning system, the live system, it's a bit convoluted to get to, but if we were to provide a link to, so on our community page and on the Denby Parish Council page and potentially embedded in the website, a direct link to that live site, direct dog walkers to look at that, then they could indeed, they probably don't even know about it, they could indeed check, is the water safe today? Oh no, there's been yet another pumping out. It's not a smart digital solution, but it is what's available today using their tools.
Have to log on and pull up the cross, and we can get the computer to do that bit for us, so it would be less work.
I'm talking about somebody on their iPhone who taps on the link and it opens up. You got it, right? That's what I'm saying. They can. It's very simple. The link exists. We're not creating it. It's Southern Water's stuff.
I misunderstood. You said there was some sort of training or whatever.
Oh no. So let me
In which case,
recap.
no, I agree with you. Let's just provide the link.
We can push information.
Is probably that's all that's within our control currently.
And you know, it's not. We cannot police dog owners stopping their dogs going in the water. We can only advise. I am conscious and wary of, and we can only do what is necessary, but of the potential of being told we actually have to close the fields. So, because of so we've talked, it's been mentioned, I'll report it to the Environment Agency or this and that and the other. Their response may well be, well, you know that there's a public health risk here, you have no choice but to close the fields. I want to be conscious of that. Councillor Lewington.
Earlier on, we had a suggestion that the council might seek legal advice on this. Do we think that's a good idea? Could we use that? And I think if we were going to, it would be around liabilities for public health as a result of that on a facility that we're providing.
And I think it's kind of obvious sort of suggestion to get that legal advice and the directive, and then we go to Southern Water. There you go. And that's what I'm worried is going to cause us to have to close the fields entirely. Because Southern Water will then say, well, there's nothing going to happen until 2040 or whatever. So you now have the risk, because we've told you nothing's going to happen. The risk is now on you, Denmead Parish Council. I'm concerned about that.
I think that's probably still be better than a public health incident.
Councillor
Yeah, Councillor Clay.
So whilst, the first topic of conversation was this live data, I think that's something we must, it's paramount to us, that we must do in social media and websites, that people are kept up to date. But health and safety, legal, I think council is duty bound to protect the village, and we are the voice for our parishioners. So I think it's our duty to take this action against Southern Water, and we become the driving force to...
Well, we're not agreeing to take action against Southern Water, we're agreeing to take legal advice as to what we can. I mean, we've got to leverage everything, for sure. Okay,
But it might
so...
actually be that it does need to be taken. Sorry.
Can we, Councillor Ranger?
Yeah, I think further to both Councillor Clay and Councillor Betts and Lynn's comments, I think there's a multitude of things that we should be doing with urgency. It just feels like that's the word of the evening, but I think certainly the legal advice one route, and I certainly think with regards to the comms and the data act in terms of the River and River and Seas Watch app. But for those of you that are not aware or haven't seen it, there is an open invitation. You have to book it online to Suella Braverman's webpage to go next Friday evening at the West Waterlooville Community Centre, 6:30 to 8 or 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock. It's available online to check it out. And although we don't yet know who's going to attend from Southern Water, it might be an opportunity to at least, either as residents or as councillors, depending on which hat you're wearing in the evening, to lobby accordingly to get feedback. But I do think that we have other options to try here. So we have the data, we have the legal route to look at the opportunities there. But I also think that as residents, we have a duty to represent the residents at this event. So I will be going on Friday, for example, and I would encourage others to attend as well.
I don't think we can commit individual councillors within a
No,
proposal to attend an event, but I thought that was your...
I'm going, it wasn't a proposal, it was just a statement.
Okay, great, and I'm sure you'll let us know, how it went. Councillor Betts, did you have your
Yes, I was
hand
just
up?
going to Councillor on the meeting, so I'm also registered for this sewage issue and also as president. And it would be useful if we could turn around the legal advice prior to that meeting to understand. I don't understand that that's quite a tight timeline, but is there potential to expedite?
When is
Next Friday.
Yeah, so one week to get legal advice. You won't be able to Wednesday, so that'll be something that happens.
No, tomorrow.
Okay. Sorry.
I'll talk to
Councillor Clay.
So during the public session I forgot to make notes, but our district councillor made some great advice. I'm just wondering if she's able to point out some of her recommendations that she made in the public session, so I forgot to write them down.
I like you give those
The stats. The statistics, yeah?
to the River Watch.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Yes, please.
Right, so I'm gonna try and get a proposal out here because I'm very conscious of time.
At that meeting,
Yeah.
if we are able to have a council position, I'm happy to wear a council hat as well if council wanted
To be a formal representative of council and feedback to us. I think that'd be valuable.
Yeah. I have a list of ones that
Yeah.
I list myself.
That would be really great.
That plus any else we want to make. So I think it's a great opportunity for us.
I think that would be great. Thanks. All right, so I would like to propose that we obtain legal advice on the matter, and that we additionally provide communications containing the link to the live incident site for our residents. So we push that. That can be done quite quickly. People do need to be informed.
Just build on that and suggest actually if we can get that link as a QR code, that will go on the notice board at the entrance.
So that would be an amendment to my post, which I'm fine with. A show of hands for the amendment. A seconder. Yeah. I'm not. We can investigate whether the QR code is a thing. You got it there. Thank you. Okay. Tim's like, good. Tim, you just stitched yourself. Councillor Lungden, you just giving yourself another job to provide that QR code for us. Okay. So the amendment was seconded. Was my original proposal seconded? Provide comms and link for live incidents and obtain the legal advice. Seconded. Okay. Show of hands. All in favour. That's unanimous. Good, we've actually got some action on it. Right, brings us to 8.3, which is fences at Goodens Field. So we have received 2 emails. Were they within the supporting docs? And one of the gentlemen is here tonight. Both letters complain of their dogs escaping the field. So, can we have some comments and discussion about, you've got the letters.
I would suggest we send the various team to go and check out the fencing accordingly and to see whether or not it's needs repairing or not, or replacing.
Okay. I'll just chuck some other comments in whilst I was up there. So I think it must have been your letter that was describing where they were. So I was trying to find the holes. Some I found.
I was a second.
Yeah.
I did actually see some council work up there last week. It was a couple of, yeah. They comments about boundaries as well.
Okay. So I was able to find 2 areas where the fencing is not 100% complete. Most of the area you can't access because of the very dense hedgerow and overgrowth natural environment growing against those boundaries. There's every sign in numerous places of these tracks being made by wildlife. And we'll say again that this is not a dog walking field that is claimed to be secure for dogs off the lead. I'd be worried at the cost of replacing quite a considerable amount of fencing, because it's not just the fencing, it's clearing all the undergrowth to access the fencing, which will do a lot of damage to the ecology. Repairing the fences will stop those natural wild corridors. It's not as simple as it sounds. We don't advertise as a secure field for your dogs to run free off the lead. So just to add a little bit of another view in there, Councillor Clay.
To bring to Council's notice that the particular part of it is a shared boundary. So I suggest that we perhaps correspond with the landowner and we converse with them, as it's a shared boundary.
Well, that's only one of the areas that's being complained about. It's also along from the car park along Hambledon Road. So not just the shared fencing on the landowner's side. It's sorry, Councillor Boland.
So there is a legal duty within this that we have to comply with. So as an occupied land open to public, the parish council owes duties under the Occupied Liability Act 1957 and 1984. The duty to lawful visitors and limited duty even to trespassers. The test is reasonableness. We need to make reasonable efforts to repair the fencing because we now know there's a risk. That can be from a dog, that could be from a child stepping onto the highway. So there is...
Children can't get... I appreciate it.
That's your opinion, but a toddler, if a dog can get through, then a toddler can get through.
Yeah, okay.
So you can shrug eyes and roll eyes as much as you like. There is a duty, and I think Councillor Ranger's point of dispatching the grounds team to go at least assess the level of damage to the fencing, so we can then ascertain what a remedy could be. It doesn't necessitate a full replacement of the fence. It could be the form of a reasonable repair within the eyes of the law, but there is a legal responsibility.
Councillor Vickers.
And I agree with Councillor Bowman that, you know, I think like Goodman's Field is being sort of reported as a dog field. It's not. This incident happened because of a dog. It could equally happen because of a child. So it is a community, family resource. It's not a dog walking field. It's never been put as a dog walking field. It's a community resource. I walk that every day with or without my dogs. Okay, so I think we need to take on Councillor Bowman's point that we need to investigate it, we need to look at it, we need to have the photographs, and we need to make recommendations accordingly. And I would like Goodman's Field not to be sort of suggested as a dog walking field, because I think that puts a bias and an emphasis on something that isn't there. It is a community resource that is part of our village. And I would like that noted, please, that I'm unhappy with the perception that it is a dog walking facility only. It is a community resource. Thank you.
Right, so we had Councillor Ranger a proposal that we asked the head groundsman to inspect the perimeter, yeah? Is there a seconder for that? Okay. And all those in favour? Tannersview play area. Sorry, have I missed? No, I've done that. 8.3. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
We're pulling 9.1. We're pulling 9.1. 9.1 Tannersview play area. I'm actually going to remove this item because the action is omitted from it and bring it back as necessary. We can't discuss it because we do not have anything to discuss or note, so that will be brought back. Item 10, incidents. We have no incidents specifically, other than anything that we've discussed about dogs getting out of Goodman's. I think that's all we've got there. Sorry, Chris. Councillor Ranger.
I think Councillor Lundgren mentioned about the other bridge at Goodman's Field. That's an incident that I think we should at least note and...
we need that to come back on the matter for the next agenda. Yeah, I've got the photographs already for that.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's not an incident as such. So no
Move that
incidents.
to 12, please.
move?
That instant, I'm going to move that to 12 as the next agenda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, please. Yes.
Yeah.
We'll take that as
So 10
social media. Item 11. I would like to propose, as Councillor Vickers has also suggested, 100%, very definitely, informing and communicating to the community about the skeleton tree once. Well, you see, with two options, we know it's going to happen. It will be done one way or another. It has to be. We've got no choice on that. So we can either go early with our communications about what's going to happen and why, or we can wait until the new quotes are agreed. But I tend to prefer, if we've got the knowledge, why should we withhold it from the public? Councillor Lewington.
Is that communication going to include the new tree?
Yes, it would, absolutely.
We need to get that in there, unless we think it might make it a target for vandalism.
Who knows? Hopefully not. So that would be my suggestion, and the question would simply be, sorry, Councillor Ranger, I think you had your hand
Yeah,
up.
I was just going to say, I think that we should do it sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I don't feel we need to wait for the quotes, because we're not going to be publicising the cost of it at this point, I guess. So I just don't see the point of waiting. Let people know, and we can deliver it in an appropriate way that recognises it's sad. But absolutely, we should not wait and see have what happened with the oak tree that gone before we told anybody. So, any other suggestions for Councillor Ranger
Social media.
for social media?
Yeah, I think we should use the opportunity to highlight what we are planning on doing regarding the sewage. We are seeking legal advice.
Yeah.
We are meeting with Southern Water,
Mm-hmm.
and we offer not meeting, but we are meeting with them in the. So I think we should demonstrate our keenness and sense of urgency to address this big issue by highlighting in the social media aspect for the amenities that we are legal advice, meeting Southern Water, and awaiting feedback.
I think absolutely we need to show people, as part of our ongoing strategy that we're all agreed on, that we're fighting for them. We're actually, doing our best. So I would certainly support an article about that. Councillor Vickers.
And I would say that Goodmansfield is a much loved community resource in Denmead, for everybody, and I think the people of Denmead feel very passionately about Goodmansfield, about the gap and stuff like that. So I think it's equally it's important that people that they know that we're discussing it, that we're fighting for it, as you say, Councillor Carson, and that we are, that it has value and it has respect in the village. Because I think that sometimes it does get forgotten, and it shouldn't be. So I think it's a good time to promote that and promote its value to the community.
Okay, that's 3 articles.
Rolled in maybe amongst the same piece of Goodmansfield, we should make people aware of this QR code to know to check.
That would wrap it in nicely. Yeah. Here's Goodmansfield, and by the way, there are the issues that. So I would suggest I would possibly suggest in terms of you don't want articles to be particularly large in social media. I would suggest that there is one article on the sewage issue. Whilst we can refer to it within the Goodmansfield package with the QR code, that can be a backup to the one that's placed in the sewage article. So that's instantly 2 opportunities where we put that QR code out, which Councillor Lewington's going to get us.
And do we put on there that we are, like Sam's just said, about researching the bridge and the fences? Because
I would say at this point we shouldn't.
Not yet.
Yeah, we're not ready to make a decision.
Question.
When we get the quotes, maybe we can, but
Yeah.
we might not like them.
I am going to remind. I am going to remind you. We must be very conscious of whether decisions are the right ones to expend money. We do not have budget for the bridge at Goodman Fields, which looks like it could be a lot of money. We do not have budget for the fencing at Goodman's Fields. There's not budget, full stop. Can't conjure this money up. So we have to
still having a legal responsibility to do something.
So
we have capital reserves. We have money. That's not strictly true, is it? And I would just want that to be noted. It's not strictly true. We do have money in budgets for things that we have to do. So let's not preempt the discussions about Goodman's Fields, about budgets.
all right, we have 3 articles.
Exactly.
We have.
Exactly.
We have.
Let's
Excuse
not
me.
get
Can
into it.
we wrap up, please? We've got 3 minutes.
Yeah, but
So we have
everybody
3
has a
articles.
conversation and a value, Councillor Carson.
I'm sorry.
Everybody has a value and
Absolutely.
are allowed to communicate. So
Absolutely.
thank you.
We've not ended the meeting. We have 3 articles. We have the sewage issue, the skeleton tree, and the Goodman Fields, wrapping them together. Chris.